However, this can also be a disadvantage, as then people no longer value the people that you meet as much as you once did if you met the old-fashioned way. Before it was a meeting and the other person showed interest, and it's kind of like, okay, someone's interested in me, I better grab the opportunity. And people used to value them more because, hey, I might not be able to meet someone else, at least in the short term, or maybe in the medium or even long term. It might be my last chance, so to speak. So does online dating work? So does online dating actually work? Well, some swear by online dating and some swear at it. And the ones that love online dating are the few lucky ones that happen to find their forever partner on it. As the marriage success rate of these online dating sites and apps is actually very low, when you ratio it out. And those that don't like online dating or find that it's not for them are usually those that did not have much luck on them. Well, it doesn't mean they didn't meet anyone. I'm sure there's interest and you go out on date, but in terms of the quality of dates might not be up to what they expect or they want, or there was being too much of a mismatch, one mismatch after another, and then people get bored of it. Well, actually, not bored, we're more like sick of it, of getting a luck and seeing, and think that there's just bad quality people on these sites. It might get labeled desperate and dateless. Well, not so much nowadays. It used to be called that realm, but not anymore. It's just that people don't have time, and it's being quite socially accepted. But there are people that have luck on them and people that have been unlucky and haven't met anyone that would be decent for them. So I find that there are quite a few shortcomings of online dating. And that's because, everyone wants to appeal to as many dates as possible, of course. Why wouldn't you? Because then it expands your pool of potential dates. I mean, able to basically throw your net out wider, so to speak. And because of that, this leads to them not being totally honest and just write a profile that they think would have the widest appeal and what's popular in order to catch the attention of the most potential suitors. If you've seen online dating profiles, have you noticed that a lot of the interests and goals are very similar in these profiles? Because, people put that up and thinking, okay, that's what everyone else puts up. That must be the popular thing that appeals, and why do they do that? Well, it's because people are used to seeing, and almost like they expect to see the types of interests, and so to speak, on these dating profiles. And also they've been conditioned by society that those are what appeals to people and potential dates. And then the profiles that are honest then start looking boring in comparison and don't get picked. I mean, how often would you come across a profile that says, I love adventure and travel, versus someone that's honest and says, I love cooking and gardening. Okay. What would appeal to people? What looks more exciting? And so that either consciously or unconsciously, that affects what people put on their profiles. And if you're honest, really, if you're looking for someone serious, it's the one that says that they love cooking and gardening is probably someone that you should be choosing, because that person, one that's telling you that they're far more stable in what they want, and also they have more confidence. They're more sure of themselves because they're actually putting it out there and being honest, able to be honest about themselves. So that's also an indication of someone that has confidence, has self-confidence, rather than, well, someone just labeling them as being boring. Okay. You need to look at it in the context when you're sifting through these dating profiles and read between the lines. And I guess the people that have different profiles, it look like they're more honest with it. And so those people are usually more serious about that. Well, that provides a very good indication that they are serious. Not to say that the people that follow along and recreate your typical dating profiles aren't there to be serious about finding a partner. They probably are, but it's just they get caught up in what's popular and probably lack some self-confidence themselves. Okay? And the other thing is that whether people actually understand what they need. You see, people usually know what they want, but don't know what they need. And people confuse what they want is also what they need. But is it really what they need? Have a think about it. Because there's a big difference between the two. What you want often isn't the same as what you need and doesn't last, but what you need will. Just think about it. If people are given the choice and what you want, people usually pick things that appeals to them, like, say, takeaway, hamburgers, pizzas, chips. Okay? People love eating them, as you can see by our obesity epidemic and so many people just gulping that sort of thing. So they've chosen what they want, which is very bad for them, all that type of food. And eventually it's going to cause you health problems. It's a matter of sooner or later. But what the person probably needs is a nice kale salad. That will be very good for you in the long run. That's what people need, but to respect how many people put their hand up for that. Okay, if you point it out to them, people would actually kind of acknowledge, like, yeah, I probably need a kale salad. It's good for me, but they don't really want that. Okay, so it's trying to get over people's reluctance and thinking more lines of what you actually need, because what you actually need is going to last over the long term if that's what you're looking for. Okay, but hey, if you just want a bit of fun, like I say, dating just for fun, then by means, just go for it. Just go for all you need, as I'm saying, is someone good looking and fun. Don't overthink it. That's all you need. But when it comes to you wanting something permanent, that's when you have to put in a lot of thought into it. Just like with anything that you purchased or acquire or so forth, anything that's permanent, lots of thought to it. And also, that's why I'm here. I'm teaching you how to choose. And so the avenue when people go looking for dates, dating sites very popular now. We have to look through them, and, by people just picking what is, has common appeal, you may be overlooking potential dates that are going to be perfect for you. But because they don't fit your idea of what your type is, you're not going to take a look at them or make contact with them. And so that's a lost opportunity. And so what happens is it's pretty much an information asymmetry. You know what I mean by, and some things about a person is very hard to convey through a profile. What do we do how do we judge people when we look at a profile? We look at, say, what they do, what their work is, and then try to guess their income level, of course, and what their level of education is. Well, a lot of them, the profiles that put that, either high school, where they obtained high school, a degree or postgraduate degree, and people, think of how smart they could be. But intelligence, education does not tell the full story of intelligence, and lots of nuances with people you can't tell from a dating profile. and what they're also capable of eventually, because people grow, people grow or develop and gain skills and knowledge along the way. And it's only a certain point in time that you can obviously see that. But when people are young and looking for a partner to establish a family with in particular, well, at that stage, you are young and you select the young candidate, and the young candidate might not have much to show for it as to what and demonstrate the type of person they are, simply because they're young yet and they haven't had the chance to establish themselves, but the potential is still there, and then they can still eventually become that, but you can't show that on a profile. And unfortunately, when we pick, that is what we pick from. We pick on what or that parameter and try to decipher what they are like and make a judgment based on that. It's very difficult, And like I say, yeah, people don't know that, don't know what they really need. It's information asymmetry. And I know cases where they could, personally, I could tell that they would get along with a candidate. So the person messages them, but the other person does not accept the invitation. So I guess it wasn't their type. So it's this. So one party can like the other person and know that they're going to be a good match, but when they reach out to the other person says nah. And so what happens? Then it doesn't go ahead. Information asymmetry. And so it's this lack of knowledge of what people need in a partner that makes them fail to recognize a potentially great partner. And also the reason why online dating has such a low success rate. I mean, for potentially truly compatible partners, would still fail to connect due to this situation. People don't know what they actually need and don't recognize that person that sent them a message is probably the perfect partner for them. But because in their head they've got a certain type that they're after, they're not going to say yes to them, and so they miss out. Okay, so have a think about that.